Hello, crypto fanatics, and we got some news for you today. That's right, Uncle Sam, the US Treasury wants more power to implement evil sanctions on crypto exchanges. So the US Treasury is seeking expansion of its powers to stop any kind of illicit crypto funding, as well as monitoring the crypto exchanges. Now, I think it's really only CEX as they can monitor, as DEXs would be much harder. But I don't really know about this stopping any kind of illicit crypto funding thing. That sounds a bit sketch, and it looks like it could be used for nefarious anti crypto purposes. So that's definitely not something I'm liking. The US Treasury Department is looking to tighten its grip on the functioning of crypto exchanges in the country. As per the latest Bloomberg report, the Treasury Department has sought more sanctions against the foreign providers of crypto services. It seeks this as part of protecting the national security. Of course, that's always the excuse they use. Now, I don't really know what the monetization is, but I don't really like it. They say our problem is that actors are increasingly finding ways to hide their identities and move resources using virtual currency. But we also have to know that, crypto isn't exactly anonymous unless you use Monero, so they could technically trace it. It is easier to trace than cash. He further stated that malicious players like terrorists always seek new ways to move their resources in the light of actions we're taking to cut them off from accessing the traditional financial system. Now, in the on-chain evidence, you can always look at on-chain evidence. We've discovered maybe about $400,000 worth of terrorist activity for the last 2 years. So that's actually not a lot. Especially that's actually when we look at Binance, that's actually not a lot. So there's not too much evidence to actually back that statement up, at least with the hard on-chain evidence. He further stated that malicious players like terrorists always seek new ways, of course, to get at the traditional finance system. The U.S. Treasury further pointed out that Iran's Quds force has been funding the militant groups of Hamas as well as Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza. Yeah, I don't think you're going to find too much evidence of funding Hamas in terms of crypto. I think they probably do it with USD a lot more because, dollar bills are much harder to track. The Treasury has already initiated actions against these networks, as well as those facilitating smaller donations to Hamas. The smaller donations might actually be very hard to handle. I think a lot of U.S. Exchanges probably don't allow exports to places like Pakistan or Gaza just to avoid those things. But I don't really know if you can shut it completely off. I mean, the dollar flow, not just to crypto, but just to dollars, I mean, it doesn't shut completely off, obviously, because there's people are always finding ways to filter money into there. So I think it's kind of weird that you're just targeting crypto. I think they just don't really like crypto. I think they could just ban privacy coins for that purpose, but not touch crypto altogether. But maybe they're working together with Gary Gensler. They also stated that Russia and North Korea are also state actors that have been increasingly using crypto for fund transfers. Now, that's actually true, especially for North Korea and Lazarus. I'm not really sure how you would just cut off the funds to North Korea, but yeah, that one's kind of true because Lazarus has stole billions of dollars. Russia, I mean, you can turn that around too because Ukraine's been receiving a lot of crypto donations, so they probably don't want to block that. They have a big problem on their hands, and it's not one they can actually solve all that easily because they can't just ban crypto. I think that would enrage too many people, and they can't really stop it anyways. Of course, last year, bipartisan U.S. senators introduced a bill for broadening the country's treasury sanction powers, introducing a more terrorist groups as Hamas. So, they want to include more terrorist groups. They stated that the Treasury had set their proposals with the hope of bolstering the counter-terrorist financing authorities. Now, I still don't think crypto is the main problem for this. I think there's way, way more things than crypto when you're talking about terrorist financing activities. But I can see why they would want to focus in on it. It's a market that they can't control, that they're not sure about, so they just kind of want to get rid of it. But I do think the public opinion towards crypto and Wall Street's opinion towards crypto is going to get higher and higher. So it's going to make it harder and harder for them to actually do that. As of now, the U.S. Treasury holds the power to prohibit U.S. accounts along with transaction processing for foreign institutions with suspicious activities. But unlike banks, foreign cryptocurrency exchanges and some money services business do not have or depend on corresponding accounts for all their transactions. So I think this is why one of the reasons they're really trying to push out KYC AML, because with KYC AML, it'd be really, really hard for people to do this. And I actually think like most countries will get on board with this outside of like obviously like the terrorist countries. I do think like all these exchanges like KuCoin, all these exchanges like Mexi will eventually be KYC AML. Now, part of the reason is just because they don't want people to tax evade, and that'll cover that as well. But there is an amount of stuff like Lazarus and other like hackers for like North Korea and like, Hamas and all that stuff that do play into this. So there is that part of a reason, but I do think they are kind of using that reason to try to cover up, like try to kill off all the tax evasion and money laundering as well. He added that having a secondary sanctions tool would enhance the Treasury's targeting capabilities. It would also enhance the technological changes required to trade illicit crypto funding. So that's why all these regulations are coming in. The Treasury wants direct power over all this stuff, and it does seem kind of shady to me, but it does look like they want to cut off like all the financing ways, all the crypto financing ways, including the exchanges. And that's why they're trying so hard to get every non-US exchange out of the US. They want to completely control this whole market so they can make sure like the money doesn't go where they don't want it to. And also to basically cut off the kind of like tax evasion stuff. So that's kind of where they're at right now. So yeah, very, very like it's going to get extremely strict. And I'm not really I really don't like this, but I do think like it is going to tighten up on the CEX. The DEXs, they're going to have a really hard time to deal with. But I think like as long as they KYC AML the hell out of all the on-ramps and off-ramps, it's going to be really hard for people to do everything else. And I do think like every single like legit crypto exchange is going to have KYC AML to a very, very high degree within the next 5 years. So enjoy that non-KYC AML if you can. In other news, Solana devs are going to target April 15th to fix their problem. Yes, the problem is still there. They say it's not a design flaw, but it's an implementation flaw, and it's trivial. Well, trivial causes your network to bog down for a week and a half. That's not so trivial. Now, to be fair, there's nothing critical that's actually running on Solana, so it's not like hospitals are going down or the military's firing rockets everywhere just because Solana went down. Enterprises generally don't use Solana. It's a retail chain. So it's probably not that crucial unless like you invested all your money in Dog with Hat or something. It's probably not all that crucial. But it is still annoying. And remember, IOTA kind of like went down for a month and never recovered about 4 years ago. Now, I'm not saying Solana's not going to recover from this because I do think Solana is going to recover from this. But this is bad because right now, like a lot of that popularity is going to leach over to other things like Coinbase's base, which people could see as more dependable. So it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And because of that, like any kind of hiccup like this, especially if it lasts for like a week and a half, if it was just for a couple of hours, it wouldn't really matter. But if it lasts for like a week and a half, it's definitely going to attract people elsewhere. Now, those elsewhere things are going to have to be like fast, cheap, and efficient. But that's what some of the layer 2 stuff is right now. But I do think like base, like it's not going to remain as cheap even after Denkin if they get like that kind of like Solana volume at this point. So April 15th, I mean, I think it's a little too slow. I think they need like a hot fix to actually fix it now. And even though they say it's not a design flaw, but it's an implementation flaw, and that it's easy to fix, they should fix it much faster. Now, will like Solana's fix actually completely fix the problem? I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it has something to do with like transaction prioritization. I think they definitely have issues with like bots and stuff. And I think like just introducing like a pre-batch fee would kind of kill all of that because that would make bots completely just not profitable. And the pre-batch fee wouldn't have to be very much because these bots are doing many, many transactions per minute on micro arbitrage. You just need to find a way. You need to find a fee that doesn't bother people that much, but that would make micro arbitrage bots like not affordable. Once you do that, I think you kind of solve the problem because there aren't that many micro arbitrage bots on Ethereum. You know why? Because it's really expensive for bots to do that. So I think they should take that Ethereum model, but instead of making the fees like $20, make it like 10 cents. Because like that will hurt those arbitrage bots, but it really won't hurt people making real transactions. Because 10 cents is still very, very cheap. So it's good that it's not a design flaw, but it is bad that they're going to take like a week and a half to fix it. It's already been going haywire for about 3 days now, and another week, not that great. Not that great. So I expect better from Solana, hopefully at least when they get Fire Dancer on, because they can't really do too many of these screw ups in the future. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.